Hello everyone and welcome to a new video from Your Overwatch. I'm Eddie the Chump and today we've got a bit of a news roundup for you. There were some extra changes to Roadhog's primary fire that weren't in the original patch notes, but that did go live on Tuesday. There's a new developer update coming from Jeff next week, and Jeff also shared that they're trialling some changes to Pharah internally that could make their way to the PTR very soon. And there's also some wording in the virtual ticket fine print that explains that the bonus in-game items, which includes the new Sombra Legendary Demon Hunter skin, will be made available separately at a later date. So thankfully, paying $50 isn't the only way that you'll be able to get your hands on it. So first things first, let's deal with that rather secretive Roadhog change. Some very observant Roadhog players had already noticed a bit of difference, but I'll read through the patch notes for you now. Roadhog's scrap gun. Primary fire fall-off range changed from 10 to 20 meters to 15 to 30 meters. Alternate fire now has damage fall-off, which is the same as the new primary fire fall-off, 15 to 30 meters. The developer comments read, previously, Roadhog's scrap gun alternate fire didn't have damage fall-off, which sometimes made it too powerful against far-away targets. To balance out a slight power decrease, especially against barriers, we decided to push his overall weapon's effective range out a bit further before damage fall-off begins to take effect. Note, the alternate fire fall-off begins from where the scrap projectiles are formed, not from Roadhog's firing position. So now we have a bit more of a complete picture. It appears that Roadhog has been slightly buffed in certain ways and slightly nerfed in others. When the change to his alternate fire first came through, we did cover it as a nerf, but in our testing, if you remember the video, the decreased damage to a big target like a shield was only really noticeable at the furthest extent of his potential. The initially secret and now public changes to his primary fire, however, can very easily be considered a straight buff. His shotgun will now continue to do its max damage potential for a further 5 meters before it starts to drop off. Now 5 meters might not sound like a huge amount, but it's basically a McCree's flashbang's worth of extra range. If you play Roadhog a lot, first of all that's very brave of you right now, but if you do I'm sure you will notice this. There's also the fact that his primary fire now has longer range in totality. 30 meters is actually quite far out, and if you notice his fall off is actually less severe now. The old fall off distance going from its max damage to its lowest amount happened over the course of 10 meters. With his new primary fire, that'll happen over a course of 15. So it will carry on doing more damage that little bit further. Now you do have to factor in that as with all spread weapons, the further out you are, the less pellets are going to hit. It's not quite the same as a change to say McCree's damage fall off would be, but in comparison to how he was, it is still an improvement. Now in my head, I'm thinking that this new primary fire is probably what you should be using against shields, at least in those medium range poke battles as each team's Rhines or Orisas start to square up. If you're still quite far out, like out of hook range, then yeah, his alternate fire probably still is the way to go. It will take some getting used to, but at least now we know he didn't just get a range shield break nerf out of nowhere. You guys will have to let me know how you feel about this in the comment section below. Roadhog's kind of difficult to make work in this meta right now, but I'm very interested to see what this buff for his primary fire does for him. Moving on, it appears that Jeff Kaplan has been rather busy on the Overwatch forums, and he's brought with him some exciting and teasing comments. The first one that I'm going to address is when he responded to a question about getting another developer update soon. Jeff said that they just recorded one and that it should go up next week. Now that's obviously very exciting, and because Jeff didn't give any details about what's in that developer update, we're all left to speculate wildly. So not wanting to break the habit of a lifetime, let's do just that. To me, there's a few things that it could be that makes sense. Usually, a developer update means something major is changing, something that couldn't just be handled in a regular forum post. So I think it's either details about Torb's rework, as I think that is actually going to be quite substantial, or it's going to be more info on the much awaited incoming social feature. My guess as to what that feature is, the last time we spoke about it in a video, was that clans or role queue are going to make their way into the game. So let's just talk about Torb first for a moment. The lead time between us knowing that it was a thing and it not materializing quite yet has actually been quite long. I can remember Jeff Goodman talking about it with Seagull on stream from when Hammond went up on the PTR, but I actually think the first mentions of it go back even further. Also, Scott Mercer talked about it very recently, and he detailed that they weren't exactly sure if the new Torb would indeed make the next PTR round of changes, but perhaps that timetable has been stepped up. And don't forget, out of all the ideas we've heard from them about the new Torb's kit, such as him being able to just throw his turret and have it auto-level so he's not stuck there maintaining it the whole match, we've never quite heard a firm plan for what they want to do with Molten Core. The general idea, as far as I understand it, is that they want to change the pacing of Torbjorn, because as he is, his value ramps up. He has to wait to build turrets, he has to wait to gain scrap and provide armor packs, and if they're moving him away from that and giving him more instant access value, that does represent a fairly major change for the character and could necessitate a developer update of its own, especially if there's a new ult in play as well. But now moving on to the social feature, the implementation of a clan system or role queue would be absolutely massive for the game, and in my opinion would absolutely require a development update video. Both options represent a totally different way of playing and interacting with Overwatch, and I can't personally make up my mind which one I would prefer. So just like the greedy and hyper unrealistic YouTuber I am, I'm gonna say, why not both? Why not all the new things all at once? New Torb, role queue, and clans. That's a set of completely reasonable expectations. Let me know in the comments, which out of the three things I've mentioned would you like to be in the developer update coming next week? Everyone gather round and hold hands as we chant role queue, role queue, role queue. If we all believe strongly enough, we can send a psychic message to Jeff. Now next up, we've got something that I'll be honest, I didn't expect at all. And that's the news that Blizzard are trialing some Pharah changes. Jeff said, we've been trying some changes to Pharah internally. Some of those changes might make their way to the PTR next week. More details to come later. Well, my mind's set racing as to what those could be. It has to be said, Pharah faces some fairly stiff challenges at the moment. A lot of the heroes that are commonly used to counter her, like Soldier and McCree, got significant buffs to their range recently. But it's not just them, this meta isn't great for her either. Heroes like Hammond, Sombra and Doomfist, and the improvements and increased pick rate of say a hero like Lucio, mean that teamfight engagements are happening lightning quick. And one of Pharah's key weaknesses, the rate at which she can output her damage, can leave her struggling to get impact in time as the ground fight develops almost in fast forward. Not to mention that Anna is back in a big way, and Anna has always been a big threat to her daughter in game. A consistent 3-shot with no damage fall off. Yeah, it's not great for her, is it? Oh yeah, and Mercy's hardly ever getting played. So with all that in the background, what exactly could Blizzard be trying out with Pharah to make her more competitive? My guess is they have to be experimenting with either her rate of fire, which could be somewhat dangerous as it might make her a bit oppressive if they overtune it, or instead of directly increasing how fast she can shoot, they could make the travel time of each rocket fired that little bit faster. That way, it would allow her to land her damage where she wants with less waste. I mean, they could do something completely crazy, like give her infinite flight, or perhaps even barrage on a cooldown. Haha, no. Whatever they decide to do, I'm just kind of excited to see it, and I know FREEDO will be too. It's one of his best heroes, and I have to say, I don't hate Pharah nearly as much as a lot of other people seem to. I might change my tune if I'm being murdered constantly by almost hit scan damage boosted rockets, but hey, if that happens, I've always got the option of just learning the hero myself. If you can't beat them, join them. As always, let me know what you guys think down below. The topic of Pharah and her power tends to get a little bit heated in our comment section, so I'll be really interested to read your guys' replies. And finally, we've just got a little addendum on the whole Virtual Ticket Legendary Sombra skin controversy. It turns out that if you read the fine print of the Virtual Ticket, it details that the bonus items included in the bundle will be made available separately in 2019. So you don't have to buy the Virtual Ticket to get the new Sombra skin, but you do have to buy it if you want it now. I don't know how much that's going to soften people's reaction to this issue, but it is good that people will be able to get it separately at a later date. And that's about it for today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please don't forget to leave a rating. If you never want to miss another video of ours again, please click the bell icon next to the subscribe button on our channel to join the notification squad. You'll be in great company. And finally, please follow the Your Overwatch Twitter, where you can find updates about new videos and other cool stuff. I've been Eddie the Chump, and until next time,